don't learn to code. That's a pretty provocative statement, right? It's kicking up a huge debate right now. Because the big question on everyone's mind is, with AI getting this powerful, is learning to code still worth it? The whole world of software engineering feels like it's shifting right under our feet. And a lot of this conversation was kicked into high gear by this one quote from NVIDIA's CEO, Jensen Huang. The programming language is human. I mean, just think about that for a second. He's saying the game is changing. It's no longer about us learning their language, it's about them learning ours. So what on earth does that mean for anyone who writes code for a living? Which of course leads to the big, scary question. Is your coding career over? If you've been doing this for years, are you about to be replaced by a machine? It's a serious concern, so let's really dig into it. All right, so to answer that, let's start with the myth. This idea that coding as a job is just over. And it's all because these new AI agents look like they can do the entire job of a developer from start to finish. You know the traditional grind, right? You're manually writing code, then you're hunting down bugs, manually testing everything. It's a whole cycle. Well, this new agentic AI completely flips that on its head. Now, the idea is you just give it a single prompt, one sentence, and the AI does the rest. It plans the work, it writes the code, it debugs its own errors, and it runs its own tests. We're talking about a shift from a process where a human is in the driver's seat to one that's almost completely autonomous. It's a massive change.
And yeah, there's a name for this, agentic coding. You've probably heard about tools like Devin AI. It's kind of the poster child for this whole movement. It's built to act like a complete autonomous software developer. The promise is that it can take a project from a simple idea all the way to a finished product with you barely having to lift a finger.
And look, this isn't just smoke and mirrors. They put Devin to the test on a bunch of real-world software problems, and it managed to solve almost 14% of them, completely unassisted. Now, you might be thinking, 14%, that's not that much. But hold on. The models that came before it, they were struggling to hit even 2%. So going from 2 to 14%, that is a gigantic leap forward. And it gets even crazier. This has led to an idea people are calling vibe coding. And it's pretty much what it sounds like. You just describe the vibe of what you want to an AI, you accept the code it spits out, and if you need changes, you just give it another prompt. The key here is you're not even supposed to really look at the code. You're just guiding it. It's a wild concept. So you can see why people are freaking out. If an AI can write the code, debug the code, and ship the code, what's actually left for a human to do? I mean, really, what is our job at that point? Okay, so that's the scary part. But now let's talk about the reality, because it's a lot more nuanced. This is where the human comes back into the picture. Because the truth is, AI-generated code is often just almost right. And that little word, almost, makes all the difference. And I think this quote just nails it. AI without human direction is worthless. An AI can't go talk to a client who isn't even sure what they want. It doesn't get the messy human side of building software. At the end of the day, AI is a multiplier. But, 0 times a million is still 0. It needs a human's judgment to work with. And it's not just a feeling. The numbers show it. Stack Overflow's big annual survey asked developers how they feel about these AI tools. And get this, nearly half of them, 45%, flat out distrust them. Only a quarter actually trust them. So even though tons of people are using them, there's a huge gap between what the AI can do on paper and what developers in the trenches are willing to bet their projects on. So why the distrust? It all comes down to this almost right problem. A whopping 2/3 of developers say they get frustrated because these tools generate code that looks like it works. It might even pass a few simple tests. But hidden underneath are these tricky, subtle flaws, maybe a security hole or a bad design choice that only a real expert is going to catch. And fixing that can be a total nightmare. And that right there is the key. The skills that are becoming the most valuable are the ones that are the hardest for an AI to replicate. We're talking about genuine critical thinking, solving really complex problems, collaborating with the team, coming up with something truly new and innovative. And maybe most important of all, having the judgment to decide not just how to build something, but what to build in the first place and why it even matters. So let's get practical. What does your new job description actually look like? The big takeaway here is that your role isn't disappearing. Not at all. It's evolving. You're shifting from being a writer of code to being an architect of systems. Think about the new workflow like this. You're not gone. You've just moved.
All the really important high-level thinking now happens at the beginning. You're the one designing the overall system architecture. Then, you translate that big picture design into some smart prompts for the AI, but here's the most critical step. You come back in at the end. You're the one who has to verify everything, to review and test what the AI produced, and make sure it all fits together. Your human expertise is like the bookends for the whole process. And this really highlights the big skill shift. The old stuff, memorizing syntax, writing tons of boilerplate code, debugging line by painful line, that's becoming less important. The new essentials, thinking like an architect, getting really good at prompt engineering. And instead of debugging, you're doing code verification, a much higher level skill. And all those things people used to call soft skills, like communication and really understanding the business you're in, they're not soft anymore. They are absolutely critical.
And honestly, this new role is way harder in some ways. Think about it. Reviewing a giant chunk of code that you didn't write is so much tougher than writing it yourself. You have no context. You don't know the backstory. You don't know why the AI made a certain decision. To do that job well, you need an even deeper level of expertise than you needed before. So, when you boil it all down, it comes to this. Your value isn't measured by how many lines of code you can write anymore. Your value is in the quality of the judgment you can apply to the system as a whole. Okay, so let's circle all the way back to where we started with Jensen Huang. Because his whole point about biology is the new code wasn't just some clever line to scare developers. It was a signpost pointing to what the next generation of huge challenges will be. What he's saying is, look, if we have AI that can handle the nitty-gritty of how to program, it frees up our brains to focus on much, much bigger problems. He points to human biology as the ultimate complex system. He thinks digital biology is the next great engineering field. We're moving beyond just building the next social media app and into the territory of engineering life itself. It's a massive vision. And let's be real for a second. The goal was never just to write code. Nobody gets into this just because they love writing perfect for loops. That was always just the means to an end. It was the tool. The real goal, the reason any of this matters, is to solve problems. That's it. Code was just the best tool we had for a long time. And now we're getting an even more powerful one. So the question we need to ask ourselves isn't, should I still learn to code? The real question is, now that I have these incredible tools that can handle the syntax for me, what truly massive, complex, important problems am I finally free to go solve? That's the future. And it's waiting to see what you'll